All aboard as Kathie Griffiths chats with train driver Ian Campbell, who retired after almost 45 years of service on the railway. It's been a long and memorable journey for Ian from Dalmally, nicknamed Ivor. In this podcast, he shares his time on the tracks with us.
Hello, Ian.
Yes, hello.
Are you ready to tell us all about your time on the railways?
It might take a while, but yes, let's go.
We've got 44 and a half years to go through, haven't we?
Well, it could be a long-term train ride.
Could be. We're in for the long haul. All right. Ian, how did it all start? Take us right back to the beginning. 44 and a half years is a long time, but what was your first acquaintance with the railway? How did you get involved?
My first acquaintance was I needed a job once I left school, and I worked at the garage at Hall, which is no longer there, and one of the railway bosses came in and he told me one day they're looking for men at Creanlarich. So I applied for the job at Creanlarich and I got a job on the track, but it was relaying new track here, there, everywhere. So my very first Sunday was a blizzard in Horseshoe Viaduct, and then I must admit I had misgivings that day when I came home. It couldn't get any worse. We couldn't hardly see each other when we were working on the track. But here I am, still here, so it couldn't have been that bad.
So how long did you last on the track before you became a train driver then?
About October, January 77 to October 78, I moved on. Then I moved to Oban in 1978.
And what was it like in those days? Just tell us a little bit, because it must have changed so much. So what was it like when you first started as a train driver?
I had the old station, which to my mind they should never ever have demolished, because if you go to Europe, they'd have built inside it and had shops and everything inside it and kept it. But I miss the old station compared to what you have now. It used to be a 1 o'clock train in the morning from Glasgow to Oban. That was the paper and the mail. And then the early train, then the lunchtime and the night train. So it's only really 4 trains each way a day. But in those days, every train had a driver and a co-driver. When I started as a co-driver, the main task was to work the steam heat boiler on the train for heating the carriages. We were called second men at the time I got started. And then we went from there, I went to electric heat, and electric heat I went to sprinters we have today. So I've done the whole lot.
Do you have any favourites? You know, when you look back, I mean, the modern day trains that we have, I mean, comfort-wise, they must be better, aren't they?
Hey, no.
Oh, oh, tell us more.
The Mark I carriages and compartments, they were the most comfortable ever. Compared to the trains today, they're more plastic than anything else. But, I got a numb bum every time I go for a run with one.
So before you finished up, before you retired, what runs were you on? What was your main route?
Oban, Glasgow the whole time, every train. Then if Glasgow Queen Street was short of men, we did the Mallig from Creanlarich to Glasgow as well. The morning Mallig train we picked up at Creanlarich and took it to Glasgow. Trains today, they're all built to the one standard, and the seats are, to my mind, the seats are hard, but I suppose through time you'll get accustomed to them. But the most favourite was the Class 27 when I started, the diesel engine. That was the most comfortable, most suited thing. I've yet to see anything better for up here.
Because that journey, Ian, from Oban to Glasgow and Glasgow back to Oban, it does take can take about 3.5 hours, I think. Am I right?
Yes. Some trains do it quicker than others, but due to today's times and what have you, the artificial time, it could take probably 15, 20 minutes out, no bother at all, just cutting out some stops and speed restrictions. It could be done, but whether it will be done is a different story.
Did you never get fed up of the same route?
No. Folk look at you and they say, well, your favourite shift, our early shift had me getting up at 3:15 in the morning and try to travel into work for the 5 o'clock train. And then when you went down the line, especially this time of year, you seen daybreak coming in the whole time, and daylight, and then at night coming out of Glasgow at night with some of the sunsets you'd get coming up the Clyde. Then when you got the Gairloch, you got Glen Douglas and Glen Falloch. It was like a video tour of Scotland you could have. Really, we grew accustomed to it times, and then when snow came, it's a whole new ball game. Myself and Phil Pickin, the conductor, we stopped at Kinlarrick one night. The points were stuck, and we put in a stick and we're there for about an hour. The time with the stick, we'd over a foot of snow fell.
My word.
And I've been in all conditions, it's safe to say. But
Is there a favourite spot, or has there been a favourite? You must have lots of stories and lots of memories over those years, but is there any particular journey or occurrence or particular place on that route that will always stay with you?
just after you pass Falls of Corkin station, about 600-700 yards down, the line curves round and you see right over Loch. I never tire. I've seen that when you see the whole of the loch spread out before you. That's one. Well, there's too many to mention.
I can imagine. It's a while since I've been on that train, but you're making me think I should get myself a little journey to Glasgow at some point. Now, you had a bit of a special occasion, I think, didn't you, at the other day? There was a little bit of a gathering for you at the Corran Halls.
There was a retirement party for Agnes McCall and myself, because we both retired with the same amount of service. So I've got, they presented me with a framed portrait of the 27 loco at the old station. That had been the first one. It was my first shift ever. And so it's a nice memento. The only trouble is finding somewhere in the house to put it now. But
I've seen a picture of it. It's massive. It'll be like having it in your front room. It'll be like having the real thing in your front room with you. So what's the plan now then, Ian? Are you going to sort of, have you booked yourself on a train for another train trip somewhere, or are you going to keep going back on the route now and again to, to have a look at the views that you were used to getting every day? What are you going to be doing?
Probably I'll go back if the occasion arises for a run here, there and everywhere. But as to a train trip, I did fancy doing the Irish version of the Royal Scotsman tour train, but they cancelled that due to the COVID and what have you. So I'll need to wait till they bring that back.
Oh, another time. Good things come to those who wait.
So they tell me. But yeah, I think I'm an awful bad passenger, because I was sitting back, no matter who was driving, I was saying, right, brake now, take power now, brake now. I would be doing the trip for them.
Well, Ian, it's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you very much for taking this time to have a little chat with us for our podcast. And we wish you a very, very happy retirement. Bye-bye now.
Thank you very much indeed. Bye.
Bye-bye.